Welcome to my top 15 video games of all time. Not a top 10 because I need a little room for variety here. These are games that have earned a special place by being excellent, important, even life-changing. These are my favorites, sometimes for personal reasons, and I'm gonna try to not allow for more than one title per series, but I can't promise it. Number 15, Factorio. An utterly fascinating game. I think it was the initial 2016 trailer that got me into it, when it said by the end of the game you will be a good engineer.
Once everything is under control and an advanced stage of the game, you will become a good engineer.
It taught me how to think creatively to solve engineering and production issues. It took large amounts of planning. I watched hours of videos just explaining how trains work. If you know Factorio, you know what I'm talking about. Building a giant factory and seeing it all work perfectly is such a unique type of satisfaction. When I first started playing it, I started on a Friday night and finished on Sunday. No sleep. That's the kind of game Factorio is. I actually can't even play it anymore because starting a new map, all I can think about is all the work to be done and how far I need to plan in advance as I'm laying out the structure. It's too much, but God, what an achievement in game design. Number 14, Sifu. When Sifu came out, it scratched an itch in me that had been there for a while, the desire for a technical 3D brawler full of expressiveness but rooted in challenge. Learning to dodge enemy attacks, land counter hits, capitalize on stun states, throw for crowd control, multitask to handle 3 or 4 dudes coming at me at once. It was the first game to ever make me feel like I was in an action movie. I was directing the fight scenes. My beginner's guide continues to help people get past the game's poor introduction to its mechanics, and goddammit, I know I was a dick in the way I covered the game's updates, but someone had to push them to add that training section, and they finally did after a year. The Sifu community does not like me, but hey, they finally put in that training mission, and my guide did more to get people into that game than anything they ever did, so they can suck it. Sorry guys, you know I'm just playing around, I'm exaggerating, you're all fine. I trained my girlfriend at the time to play it because I just knew she'd get it, and it was one of my greatest pleasures to see it finally click for her and watch her play like a badass. My ex-girlfriend will be a common theme in this list, I apologize. I'd give anything for a Sifu 2, and it's awesome to see a bunch of new games coming out in this style. Number 13, Command & Conquer Generals. Speaking of ex-girlfriends, back in 2003, I got dumped. Yeah, shocking, I know. But it happened, and it happened right when I was getting into Generals. I'd grown up playing Red Alert, not really a fan of Tiberium Sun, and Generals was the sequel I needed. Just the perfect kind of over-the-top, crazy military base action that I craved. Now in 3D graphics, wow! A super addictive experience playing as the Allies, China, and of course terrorists because it was 2003 and everyone was freaking out about the Middle East. The game has offensive stereotypes and accents that you just gotta laugh about. We did. For China!
China! I've been hit! China will not forget me!
And you know, I don't know if I think Generals is better than Red Alert. It probably isn't. But I was in such an emotional rut at the time, playing Generals all day while listening to stand-up comedians like Lewis Black, George Carlin, Stephen Wright. It got me through, you know? It's what I needed in those months to not feel so sad, and that's why it earns place on this list. Number 12, Prison Architect. Like Factorio, a top-down construction game. Plan your own prison. Build the cafeteria, the cells, exercise areas, parole offices. Manage a small or large prison, rehabilitation-focused or punishment-focused. Start programs for prisoners to learn work skills, deal with behavioral issues and alcoholism. And every single prisoner that shows up has a unique name and history. Set a schedule for guards to search cells for contraband, dogs to sniff out escape tunnels. Hey, that guy's trying to jump the fence, stop him! Plan out the plumbing system, manage prison temperature, watch your prison get taken over by gangs, the kitchen bursts into flames, call in the National Guard during a riot. There's so much that can happen. It requires a lot of learning and planning, figuring out how laundry distribution works, which kitchen serves which cafeteria, making sure the staff isn't overworked, stopping family members from sneaking in weapons and drugs, putting ex-police officers in protective custody so they don't get knifed in the shower. I used to spend hours drawing on large sheets of paper figuring out just what I wanted to build when I started my next game. I still have that prison, it's the one you're looking at right now. I'm incredibly proud of this one. I'm wondering how many players watched all those early access update videos where the creator of the game was on a call with his publisher and they talked for half an hour about every new feature. There were like 50 of those videos, I think. Each one was informative and so entertaining. Those guys were hilarious. Number 11, Wipeout HD. I first discovered Wipeout on the PSP. Me and my best friend got it together and raced when we went out for lunch. We swapped between Wipeout and Luminous. I began to study the tracks, and I got really good. Once Wipeout HD came out on PS3, I was so ready. I even entered online tournaments. I did terribly, but I tried. It just has the perfect mix of things I liked in a vehicle-based game. It had that fast gravity-bending futuristic feel of F-Zero on the SNES, and it had the weapons of Twisted Metal. I remember playing Twisted Metal as a kid and wishing there was a racing game equivalent, and Wipeout kinda gave it to me. Yeah, there was Mario Kart, and I had a lot of fun playing that with my friend as a kid, but Wipeout was really the fusion I needed. These days, I still plug in the PS3 from time to time and jump into Zone, the solo challenge mode where you gradually get faster and faster as the visuals get progressively trippier. I used to be able to get into the 80s, I think, Harrymouse ship on Anolfa Pass, loading a custom soundtrack into the game with Thrice, She Wants Revenge, and Thursday, the in-game music effects warping the songs with each high jump into barrel roll. My one and only racing game. And speaking of Twisted Metal, number 10, Twisted Metal 2. In 1996, I didn't have a 3D console yet. My friend Chris did, and that's where I played Twisted Metal 1 from time to time. Cool game back then, but he also had a PlayStation demo disc that featured a trailer for Twisted Metal 2. It looked like a massive step up, ending with a shot of blowing up the Eiffel Tower. It blew our minds. That Christmas, I got a PlayStation, and Twisted Metal 2, my first PlayStation game, and my god, I played the hell out of it. Single player with every car, multiplayer with my best friend, co-op and deathmatch. This was when I first discovered my inner desire for supreme challenge. My friend would pick Minion, a boss character with a giant armored tank and high-powered special attack, and I would pick Spectre or Grasshopper, something fast but very low damage and low life. And I tried to pick away at him using my superior map knowledge and movement skills, while he only needed to hit me once and it was game over. It was torture, but it was also such a rush. Putting that aside, Twisted Metal 2 had the attitude, the look, the action, and the music. Man, the soundtrack is so good. It's one of the first games to truly shape me growing up. It's hard to go back to it now, the controls, the jank, the absolutely bullshit AI that cheats, but back then, it was the best. Number 9, Unreal Tournament 2004. A lot of you know me for shooters, so here you go, the first shooter to consume me. I played Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, Duke Nukem, and Quake 2 was the first game to get me into multiplayer. I missed out on Quake 1 growing up, forgive me. Quake 2 was why we got fast internet in the house, so we installed it on the school computers to play it every day during lunch while listening to Nails, Manson, and Slipknot. But Quake 2 is not on this list, Unreal Tournament is. One of my friends who had a nice upper-class house introduced me to Unreal Tournament, the original in 1999, and it was right up my alley. The first shooter I truly fell in love with. Finally got my own computer in my bedroom and played it non-stop. This was before the Command & Conquer General's time by a few years. But around then, UT 2003 came out and it was generally considered a weak follow-up, lacking in content. However, what it did have was Bombing Run, a football-style mode of two teams having to score in each other's bases, with guns and teleportation. It was just brilliant. So when Epic released UT 2004, all hell broke loose. It had Classic Deathmatch, Domination, Bombing Run, and Assault, which featured vehicles. This was a time in my life where I'd made enough friends with PCs that we could do LAN parties, usually at my place. We regularly met and played all the way into the morning. My favorite memory was when it was 9 of us against 9 bots on the highest godlike difficulty, Bombing Run, of course, holding them off but never scoring ourselves. tied at 0 for over an hour, I think. All of us playing our roles, rushing, sniping, guarding. I finally made my way into their base and scored the winning goal. What an amazing feeling. I don't play multiplayer shooters anymore, but this was it, and it always will be. Number 8, Slay the Spire. Okay, I'm not a big fan of turn-based games. Never had been before this and Into the Breach, which easily could have made this list. I'm not into card battle games, but I saw this being talked about on Previously Recorded with Jack and Rich from Red Letter Media, and I took the recommendation. One of the best decisions I ever made. The offering of exact information, the art style and music, the strategy, the roguelike elements, and every run being different, I fell in love. Many hundreds of hours playing over the years, one of the games me and my ex were obsessed with, to the point where when we lived together, we'd lay in bed both playing separately, her in her laptop, my PC on the TV with the mouse on the bed. Separate, but together. Just amazing memories. I don't think I'll ever get into another card battle game. Slay the Spire was it. Number 7, Doom 2016. It's hard to pick between Dooms because they mean different things to me. The original was me falling in love with what Doom was, but I didn't play it all that much until rediscovering it in the mid-2010s. The reboot was my return to a classic philosophy of shooter design after feeling alienated by the console shooter era of Halo and Call of Duty. And Eternal, well, it changed my life. Of course we'll get to Eternal later, but 2016 was the game that made me buy a graphics card for my PC. I mean, I did that for Fear back in 2005, but this was a different PC, a different time of my life where I wasn't really into any modern big-budget PC games. I was playing Prison Architect and Papers, Please. Doom made me upgrade, and I played it religiously for 3 years. Outside of nitpicks, I probably couldn't tell you anything I disliked about it at the time. Like many games on this list, it's one I obsessed over, but it reached a level of deep love that few ever do. I loved Doom 2016 so much that the gameplay reveal of Eternal had me emotional. God, what I wouldn't give to feel like that again. First and only time. What else can I say? The music was revolutionary, the push-forward combat philosophy got people to stop hiding behind cover, the art style was immersive, and the combat was over the top in its violence. Probably one of the most important games ever made. Number 6, Silent Hill 2. I feel bad, not only for not having Silent Hill 2 in my top 5, but because if you catch me on the right day, I could easily put Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 in my top 5. I love them so much. It's hard to pick a favorite. Nowadays, after 3 being my favorite for so many years, I actually prefer 1. The original just had that special, uninhibited magic. But come on, Silent Hill 2. The journey this character takes, the brilliant writing, the way it pulls you into a man's soul. It's the most important to the series for good reason. It means something. And the story it told was revolutionary in gaming at the time. I don't have a lot to say because if I say anything, I'll go on for half an hour. I have Silent Hill specific videos, please go watch those. But Silent Hill 2 is here, top 10, but just outside top 5. Number 5, God of War 2. The story that I love the most is actually God of War 1, but God of War 2 is just such an amazing adventure. I was so excited to return to this world that I was jumping up and down yelling with excitement the first time I fought the Colossus in level 1. The journey Kratos takes in God of War 2 is just incomparable. I felt personally betrayed by Zeus. The only thing I wanted was revenge. I felt like I was Kratos. I've never felt such strong motivation in a game. Not before, not since. The graphical upgrade was very noticeable. It's still a beautiful game on the PS2. The improvements to combat made it more fluid and flashy with the new animations. The locations you visited were fresh and exciting. I don't have enough good things to say about God of War 2. And that ending, going back in time to rescue the Titans from their fate during the war against the gods and transport them to the present to climb Mount Olympus, the best cliffhanger of all time, leading to the epic opening of God of War 3 fighting Poseidon. Number 4, Streets of Rage 4. To me, the greatest beat 'em up of all time. I'm not pretending to be an aficionado of the genre. My exposure is quite limited beyond the original Streets of Rage games, Final Fight, X-Men Arcade, Turtles in Time, Double Dragon, and recent games like Fight and Rage, Final Vendetta, Shredder's Revenge, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion. But Streets of Rage 4 gets it right for me where it counts. I love the hand-drawn art style, I love the music, I really love the length and pacing of the campaign, the very unique playstyles between the characters, as much as a fighting game really. But it's the way the green health and point system works that pushed this game over the edge for me. I don't know if I've seen a better example of systems working together to encourage smart play. Iframe specials that consume temporary health, contact with enemies refilling that health, taking a hit and losing all of it, and all damage leading to a points multiplier to gain extra lives to survive on higher difficulties. It's brilliant, it's the gold standard. It's also the game I played the most with my ex, almost nightly for a few years, trying to pass Arcade Mode Mania Plus with a variety of characters. They were the best times. I have a 4-player co-op video on my side channel, Residual Mayo, if you want to check it out. 4 years after the release of the game, I put out my ultimate guide, one that truly prioritizes the point system. It even got shared by .mu on Twitter, pretty cool. I love this game so much. It's one that I will probably be playing for the rest of my life, and if I were stranded on an island and I could only take one game with me, it might be this one. Number 3, Resident Evil GameCube Remake. In terms of Resident Evil, I'm more known for my criticisms of Resident Evil 3 Remake and Village. Resident Evil 3 is my favorite of the original trilogy, but the RE1 Remake takes the cake. I remember walking into a GameStop in 2002, seeing preview footage of it on the TV, and saying, "What the fuck is that? Oh, that's the Resident Evil 1 remake for the GameCube." I immediately started saving, bought a GameCube exclusively for it, as I know many did. Que bien, because it gave me access to RE4 when it came out, but the RE1 remake felt like what Resident Evil 1 was meant to be in the mind of the man who created it. And while in my old age I've come to appreciate things the original did better, there's no denying how incredible the remake is, artistically and in its survival horror gameplay. It plays so well. And my god, the camera angles, this game still looks gorgeous over 20 years later. I stop every time just to admire how they frame things. This game is high on the list seriously because of its cinematography. Check my video on top 25 Resident Evil camera angles to get a better idea. Considered by so many to be the best remake of all time, and by even more to be the best classic survival horror game of all time, Resident Evil Remake isn't just a great game, it represents my deep love for the genre of survival horror overall. Number 2, Doom Eternal. You knew it was coming. It's Mayo, the guy that hates everything that isn't Doom Eternal. Of course it's going to be here. Well, here it is. Doom Eternal is special for a few reasons. It's the follow-up to a legendary comeback. It exploded FPS gameplay in a way that was influential across many games. It's the Doom that really got people talking. It's the Doom that boldly came out and said, "Challenge matters." Now, of course, challenge has always mattered. If Super Mario were not challenging and you could just run to the right with no resistance or unlimited lives, people would never find the fun. But with Doom Eternal, we had a game director coming out to publicly discuss the fact that we need to punish players for playing boring. It was a revelation to many, and really got me thinking about how this has always been true for the games I love. I just wasn't specifically thinking about that fact. Resident Evil, Twisted Metal, Contra, Mario 64, Metal Gear Solid, Quake 2. These games were fun to play because there was a consequence to playing them badly. And because of that, I fell in love with their design and took it much further into my own personal playstyles and challenges. Doom Eternal got people talking. It separated the people who wanted to be pushed from the people who wanted to fart around doing whatever. It got people thinking more about design, intention, and balance. And it's what made my YouTube channel randomly explode. Can't forget that. Because of Doom Eternal, I have the friends I have. Because of Doom Eternal, I developed my playtesting brain to get jobs in the industry making games better. It changed my life in such an important way. And, well, you guys are probably tired of me bringing up my ex at this point, but when I met her, she didn't know Doom. I showed it to her, she fell in love with it, and we both went crazy for the release of Eternal. We played it together, taking turns for 2 years. She was on my streams. It was a big part of our time together as my life was beginning to change due to my new YouTube career, which happened to be financially saving me during the pandemic because I'd just lost my job. I owe where I am right now in a big part to Doom Eternal, and that's why it's so high on this list. But it's not number 1. What could possibly beat that? Number 1, Mortal Kombat 9, the only fighting game on this list. As a kid, I button mashed through Street Fighter 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom, spammed those special moves, right? Same with Mortal Kombat, special moves and uppercuts. But since I was really into action movies and horror movies, the dark tone and violence of Mortal Kombat attracted me. It was never about which game was easier to play, it was about which game let me rip your head off. I followed MK through 1, 2, 3, 4, and Deception. I let it go for about 7 years, and then MK9 was announced, bringing it back to the original trilogy setting, back to 2D after years of 3D movement, classic characters and fatalities, and the first time the studio attempted to make a tournament-worthy fighting game. The first MK to appear on the main stage of EVO for Top 8. The first MK to create a big, united online community and across-the-country major competitions. And for me, it was the first MK to make me think about how the game is actually played. Pokes, frame advantage, Oki, zoning, counter-zoning, mix-ups. I learned what fighting games really are, and it was the first time I really took a game seriously. I started to watch streams of other fighting games and appreciate them more. MK9 was fast, classic, beautiful, smooth, violent, and inviting. But most importantly, I was alone at the time. I was in a new city with no friends, and MK9 led me to meet my first friends. We made a team and saw each other 4 to 5 times a week for 2 years. We entered local tournaments, dominated, and traveled to other cities. It was the thing that gave me happiness in my darkest hour. And it was my first experience breaking down a game's mechanics. I started my YouTube channel around MK9, not Doom, in 2011. I made character guides, I discovered important tech, I helped my teammates get better with matchups, and I found something in myself that's been maturing for 15 years now. It is the most important game that's ever entered my life, for multiple reasons. It's the game that I will always say yes to playing or watching live. It's the game that led me to many things that gave me the motivation to push on, and I don't think any other game is going to be able to compete with that feeling. I have a video specifically about my relationship to Mortal Kombat, you can check it out here. A little addendum here to the video. I imagine plenty are wondering where the Nintendo games are. Is this Mayo guy some kind of Nintendo hater? He thinks Zelda is garbage? Fuck him! Okay, wait, let's just calm down. I have an explanation. I had an original Nintendo growing up. I loved playing the 3 Mario games, I loved Contra, Battletoads, but a lot of my games were terrible. I had the Ghostbusters game, I had Ninja Turtles, I had Back to the Future, my friends had Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Silver Surfer, all those angry video game nerd pieces of crap. I have much fonder memories of my Sega Genesis with Streets of Rage and Earthworm Jim, and my best friend down the street had the Super Nintendo. My Nintendo consumption largely came from weekends at his house where we played Super Mario World, Mario Kart, F-Zero, and Donkey Kong Country, and that's really it. I didn't play much SNES. He got a 64 while I got a PlayStation, so at his place we played Mario 64 and Wave Race and not much else. I never got into the Zelda series beyond playing the first one as a kid, but my sister got into Ocarina of Time and I just watched her play. It never drew my interest. I think I was too deep into my dark, serious tastes at the time to get into it. But it's not like there aren't Nintendo games that I love. I love a bunch of them, just not as much as many others. Was that good? Is that enough? Am I safe now? Because I really can't afford to have a bunch. Thanks for watching my list. If something isn't on the list that you think should be, it's because I think it's unplayable garbage and I hate everyone who likes it. Follow this channel for more videos about whatever I want to talk about, and check out my latest review of Season 2 of The Twilight Zone. Goodbye!